Kicks and Konvos number 2. Put your shoes on. Put your sneakers on. And get ready to walk in them. Because what God is getting ready to cause you to do, He's getting ready to cause you to walk a distance from the very people that try to devalue you. What's up, y'all? Kicks and Konvos number 2. We are back. We are so excited. I'm excited. Listen, y'all, this is a wonderful experience. I'm already excited about it because I just believe that what God is doing, even through this whole platform and this exchange of conversation, I believe it's going to be paramount to what God is going to do, not only in your life, but even in culture. So I'm excited. Kicks and Konvos is here and is here to stay. And I'm just really enthused about it. If you have not as of yet caught the first drop, I need you to go back and go check that out because, again, understanding where God has taken us, and even as much as what we're talking about as it relates to interest and inspiration coming together and colliding. You listen, you cannot understand this collab until you really go back to the first one so you can really get a clear understanding of what is being communicated on this platform. So again, I thank you so much to all those that have checked out. Listen, we thank you, we celebrate you, we appreciate you so very much. Man, listen, I'm excited about what I want to try to tackle today, and I think is very, very essential to the sneaker world. Likewise, I also see it manifesting itself in the church world, believe it or not. I want to talk about real versus fake. Real versus fake. I mean, listen, y'all, this is going to be amazing discussion and dialogue. I hope you're ready for it. If you are a sneakerhead, if you are one who has even just a few pairs of shoes, maybe you're a hype beast. Hype beast. Let me define that for you real quick. Hype beast is considered that one who's always wanting to get those new drops that come out. They're always on the new stuff. You know, they really ain't really worried too much about anything old, but they really want to be the first one. They like that child or that young man when he wanted to be the first one to wear the Jordans at school before anybody else had them. That's what a hype beast is. So you may be a hype beast, you may be a sneakerhead, you may just be a casual sneakerhead, but you have encountered, you have come across, or even been impacted by counterfeit sneakers. I'm serious, y'all. Counterfeit sneakers. Last week we talked about Pro Wings, but I think something that's worse than Pro Wings is for you to get a shoe that you want and come to find out that shoe is fake. Man, I'm trying to tell y'all, I have a story to tell, as I always do. And what I found out is so amazing is that I got this one pair of shoes. They were some Bapes, Air Force Ones. Yeah, not vape with a V, Bape with a B, B-A-P-E, Bapes. And that has like the lightning bolt with a star on the end. And I had the ones that was like, I think they were like yellow and red, kind of like these Barts right here that you see. And this Bape shoe, I always wondered. I seen everybody wearing them. Everybody was rocking them. This is what they was rocking. That's when everybody was rocking Bapes or Air Force Ones with the jerseys. Y'all remember the old jerseys? The whole throwback jerseys that we had. And so I got these shoes, and I seen them, and I was like, okay, cool. These are gonna be good. This is gonna be it's gonna make my fit look good. It's gonna be right. And I went and bought them, and I knew something was kind of wrong. Because I know how much Bapes was costing. I just thought I had a hookup. I just really thought I had real good connect. You know what I'm saying? I thought they saw oh yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hook him up. So I got the shoes. Man, I got them, pulled them out the box. I kind of noticed a few things with them that was wrong. Because again, I'm beginning to learn. I'm beginning in this whole sneaker head flow. And I'm like looking at the shoe and I'm like, man, something ain't right. Something is not right with these shoes. But I'm going to rock them anyway. If I could wear Pro Wings, I could go ahead and wear these shoes. And here's what was crazy is that I put the shoes on. Shoe looked good. It looked decent. It looked right to the eye of the one who doesn't know, wouldn't really figure it out. They were like, oh, he got on some Bapes, But to those that really know, would look at that shoe and they would say, yeah, man, those are fake. Those are not real. And I just started looking at it and I started checking the shoe out. Couple of things, and I took my notes on this. So if y'all see me look down, it's me just kind of reading off my notes. Number one, you got to look at the sole of the shoe. You got to look at the sole of the shoe. It's so amazing because sometimes the sole of the shoe has a little slight discoloration on it, right? It's not really made equivalent to the authentic shoe. Then you got to look at the stitching. The stitching is so essential because sometimes the threading or the thread that they use to stitch the sole to the shoe, or likewise even the stitching around the toe of the shoe or the heel of the shoe, you find it really being a little bit thicker or a little bit weaker. Then you got to look at the materials that it's made with, because again, those materials, they use a real leather, and then certain shoes either use a tougher leather, then sometimes they use more of like a softer leather. And so you have to check out that. Then you got to look at the labels. Man, sometimes them labels be off. They done made it, but the Nike sign, it ain't really, it don't really curl. It don't curl like, like the Luther Vandross. Yeah, it don't curl all the way. Then you have to look at, different little things that are, irregular on it, right? It's not lining up right. Things are not the way how it usually would be. Then likewise, as I stated, you have to check out the price. Because I'm gonna tell you something about fake shoes. They'll always sell those shoes cheaper than they would sell the authentic shoe, because the authentic shoe will cost more, of course, but you have to really pay attention to that. So I'm thinking I'm getting a deal, but I really wasn't getting a deal. I was actually buying a fake shoe. So I wore the shoe. And here's another thing I found out. Peep this. The shoe has this toxic chemical smell to it that really doesn't really smell like real leather. Y'all, back in the day we used to have a word we called pleather, right? It was the shoe was kind of like pleathery smell, right? And so I found out that was like a really issue. It's an issue. And so had the shoe, wear the shoe, man, looked at it. It looks good until you walk by somebody or stand next to someone who's got the real shoe on. And I'm telling you, right then and there, my countenance failed because I knew what I had was not real. And it just got my mind to think that how you have to be very careful, how you have to be very cautious, how you have to be very particular about what you purchase, even where you actually purchase. StockX had an issue some years ago where they had purchased this amount of shoes, because StockX is more built on having the new shoes. They sell nothing but the new shoes. GOAT, on the other hand, will sell older shoes, or they resell some older shoes as well as new shoes. But StockX had got this whole shipment, and it was a bad shipment of nothing but fake shoes. Let me tell you right now, the fake shoe industry is already $1 billion industry. Wow. How do you sell $1 billion worth of fake stuff? Man, it's mind-boggling that something fake can hold value. And it got my mind to thinking. It got my mind to processing, because a lot of times we've embraced fake over something that's genuine. We've embraced phony against something that was authentic. And how long did you walk, or how long did you wear, or how long did you live with? How long, if you go to church, did you worship with something that was fake, only to find out it's fake when you measured it against something that was authentic? You've been embracing fake. You've been entertaining fake. You've been around fake. You done befriended fake. You have hung out with fake. You done, oh God, you done did so many things with fake, and only to find out later on that fake thing you was entertaining made you spend money, made you lose time, even embarrassed you. Y'all, look, I'm standing, throwback jersey, baggy jeans, fake babes. Dude I'm standing next to, throwback jersey, jeans, real babes. And when I'm looking at his babes, and he's looking at my babes, and I'm saying, I need to take my babes home. You know what I'm saying? Me and my babes need to go on home, because we shouldn't have been out here with our fake selves. Y'all ain't talking to me. Listen, what's amazing though is I begin to realize that a lot of times when it comes down to ministry, it comes down to that, watch this, fake is not only what you've entertained, fake could also have been something that you yourself, within yourself, never really checked. You know, how many times, you all, have we taken advantage or have not taken advantage of really checking the authenticity of our own lives and the lives of those in whom we interact and connect with? You know, a lot of times I feel that we are just a little bit open too soon. We're a little too transparent too soon. We give of ourselves a little too soon without properly vetting the person or even the relationship before we engage in such. Being a little open too soon causes you actually to get hurt real quick. And a lot of times, you know, you fall into that, you know. So then my challenge is this versus this real versus fake. It can rise and fall in so many categories of our lives, as it relates to relationships, as it relates to connections, as it relates to choices in life, even yourself. Are you being real with yourself, or are you being fake? And a lot of times we find ourselves in this fake vein when we are really not authentic in our approach to things. Aren't you ready to go into a new year being the real you? Instead of being the manufactured fake mannequin you that you've made, that you've learned to be, so that you was able, and watch this, I'm gonna tell you something very, very key. A lot of times we've learned to be this fake image, or we have this fake persona as a way of trying to protect the real you. Because if the real you actually surfaced, you don't think that you would be accepted. And I'm gonna tell you something when it comes down to our walk with God, and even ministry, those that are involved in that, or even just your walk as being a believer. Is it Is it spiritual to be fake? Is it, are you really operating at a level of faith before God when you being fake? Can God really do in you what he wants to do in and through you if you're being fake? I mean, process that for just a moment, just to really kind of think and ponder the thought that, am I really fake? Because again, if I'm really fake, if I'm operating like I'm fake, then I need to go right back to how they authenticate the shoe. What do they check first? They check the soul. In our case, we are at a place that we need to check our soul. How's your soul? Where are you really with God? Are you real or are you fake? You know, I had a discussion and we were talking about hypocrisy. And that a lot of times we start to function in a hypocritical state because we are not really being who we portray or profess to be. How's your soul? Are you connected with God? Are you not? Where are you? You can't claim him and then lifestyle or as a shoe walks. Is it really going to be you? Or is it going to be, it's going to be fake? Which one is it going to be? Not only do you need to check the soul, but then again, you got to check the price. Oh, man. Some people need to hear the story, though it is painful. Though it has been challenging, though it has been something that is very difficult to repeat. But some people need to understand the real you and the price you paid to be you. People don't understand how much you had to suffer, how much you had to fight, how much you had to struggle, how hard it's been. People need, listen, your story is where the strength lies. And if you're not really functioning in the real essence of who you are, your story cannot be fully told. Forget the filtered you. Forget the Serpa you. Yeah, come on. Forget the hashtag you. Forget the one that you put up the right pictures and putting the right things and the right lighting and the right this and the right that. Listen, every now and then, you just need to be the raw, authentic you. Because again, the raw, authentic you has produced the value of who you are. People try to have a manufactured story to try to get the attention. And here you are, not even operating in your authentic self, shunned and quiet and silenced because you feel that their story is better or broader or wider than yours, when all in all, the world needs to hear the authenticity of your story. You don't have to be fake. Yeah, own it. Own your story. Own who you are. Own what you've gone through. Own the challenges, the mishaps, the mistakes, the setbacks, the scandals, whatever it is. All of it has shaped you to be who you are today. Whether you are divorced, whether you are one who had a child out of wedlock, whether you are one that, listen, regardless of whatever you've been through, it's your story. And your story and what you've lived through and what you've come through is so real and it's so genuine that people are helped, comforted, uplifted, empowered by all of what you've been through. I don't know who I'm talking to, and I feel like if there's one person that's really paying attention to this, who's really watching this right now, and I'm telling you right now, you're not fake, you're real. And because you're real, you hold value. And the very aroma of your life exudes authenticity. Because anything that's fake, watch this, smells toxic. How many people you been around who's been fake, and because they've been fake, they have been toxic. They've been toxic as it relates to your engagement with them. That the more they're around you, the more you lose. It's a story of a man by the name of Jonah in the Bible who is supposed to go to Nineveh, but he hops on a boat and he goes to trying to go to the city called Tarshish. And he's on this boat, and all of a sudden, the mariners on the boat are sailing, and they're headed towards Tarshish because that's where they're supposed to go. But Jonah was not supposed to go. He was going, trying to flee or get away from the very presence of God. He's going in the opposite direction of what his true reality was supposed to be. And so he's going, and he ends up causing the boat to go through a storm. Because the toxicity of his presence on that boat caused that boat to go through something that it would have never went through had he not got on the boat. How many times you've been through a storm that was not your storm, only because you've had something that was toxic get onto your boat? You're headed in a direction that you're originally intended to go, but you're connected with somebody who was supposed to be going in the opposite direction. I mean, I think a lot of times we find ourselves not so much often finding fake people, but there's often times where you can really run the course with somebody and it's not really headed in the direction of where you're going. And these individuals bring upon you challenges, struggles, hardships that you was not supposed to endure or encounter, but you only went through them because you allowed something toxic to get onto your boat. It's amazing. I know Jonah was called of God, and I understand that, but Jonah was going in the opposite direction of where God had intended for him to be. And I think anybody that's going in the opposite direction of where God is intending them to be, you're operating out of a fake space instead of a real space. You know, we got to get to the place, and we really have to get to the place and embrace the fact that we need to be very cautious and careful of toxic relationships, toxic business deals, toxic choices in life, because that can hinder us from the intent or the original intent or our purpose of why we exist, because we brought in something that was fake or not real. How often will you put time, effort, and energy in on something that won't last? I mean, it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we operate not only with our authentic self, but we engage in what is authentic. Let me tell you something very, very key that I need you to grasp and get a hold of this. Your faith is just as real as your feelings. Your faith is just as real as your feelings. You got to be able to get to the place of understanding that how I approach life and how I approach things, it's purposeful that if my faith is where it is, I need to align my faith with the authentic self and the authenticity of what I engage and connect with. Jesus Christ himself was real. He's the way, the truth, and life. Yeah, you got to think about that. If you're going to be the way, that means you got to be real because you are direction. If you're the truth, that means you're not a lie. That means you are real. And if you are, the life, then I want a life that's going to be lived in the effulgence of what I'm supposed to live it to be. Man, when you just really look at all of this, you know what I'm saying? You want to start to check certain things. You want to make sure you measure certain things. You want to make sure things in life is presenting itself to be very, very real. Now, Jonah caused them to go through something that they were not supposed to go through only because he was headed in the opposite direction. When they asked him, "Who are you?" right? They asked the question, "Who are you?" He tells them who he is. And they ask him, "Why did you do this?" When he disclosed and exposed his real self, the mariners of the boat knew exactly that he was not supposed to be on that boat. He says, "Throw me overboard." But before they did that, watch this. This was amazing about that particular passage of scripture. And it's amazing because it really talks about real versus fake. They started throwing their stuff overboard. And they tried to make it to where they were going by getting rid of their stuff. Let me tell you something. How many times have you entertained fake? Entertained something that was toxic? Entertained something that was not real only to throw your stuff overboard? You lost more of you trying to keep what was fake. You started getting a green neck trying to keep what was fake. Golly. Y'all laughing at me, but I'm trying to tell you the truth. But that's how it is. How many times have you tried to do that? How many times have you had them shoes start getting hot because the material ain't right? You're like, "Why are my feet so hot?" Because them shoes are fake. You start losing stuff. You start losing your comfortability. You start losing insight. You start losing vision. You start losing purpose, trying to entertain what was fake. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to the degree to understand, let me invest in what's authentic than what is counterfeit. Let me invest in what I'm supposed to be around and be connected to than to invest in something that will cause me to lose more. When you start to really invest in what's really worth it, you'll start to really see the value of what you really have. It's going to last. It's going to be stronger. It's going to be more significant. And you'll cherish it because you know it's real. You won't mishandle it. And it won't mishandle you. So, real versus fake. Let's lean over towards the real. And let's see how this real will pan out. This is Kicks and Konvos, y'all. Drop number 2. Let's be real. Real in your efforts, real in your conversation, real in your presentation of who you are. Stay away from that which is toxic. Stay away from that which is undervalued. Make the proper investment, not only in you, but in those in whom you connect yourself to. I'm Johnny Withers. I love you all. Peace.